times. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Namo Sakyamuni Buddha. Okay, so thank you, Arwin, to lead the group for tonight, and the topic half and half. So you lost half your time, but you get half of the wisdom. Yeah, for studying like in 2 days, right, or 3 days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
While at the same time I was working on, because I have to present to my company and my sister's company also today.
Oh,
So this
so
is
you
my
can take
third.
the same topic.
This is my third talk. No,
Ah,
they requested a different topic.
okay.
So wait, let me adjust my PowerPoint. Okay. Oh, I forgot. We'll read. We'll start with reading the article. So maybe Sheila can start.
Okay, Jishang. Half and half. Since ancient times, people have enjoyed the concept of perfection and striven to achieve it in all aspects. However, this is difficult to accomplish. Even more, some hope to be sole ruler of the world, which is also an impossible feat. This is because the world, with its myriad of existences, has always been half and half. For example, it is half day and half night, half land and half water, half good and half bad, half poor and half rich, half Buddha and half Mara. While the balance between the halves changes over time, one side has never completely been overtaken by the other. Even through this world of two halves may seem imperfect, it is actually filled with hope. As an old saying goes, domains under heaven that are long divided will unify, and that which is long unified will be divided. In the river of time, union and division have always been halves. As it is impossible for one half to completely eliminate the other, we can only influence the unwholesome half through the better half. Let's pass it to Peter.
There once was a Chan master who took on a disciple who frequently stole in the temple and did not change his ways even after repeatedly reprimanded. One day, fed up with his actions, everyone petitioned the Chan master to expel the thief. The others threatened to leave if he was not expelled. The Chan master looked around and said, "All of you leave. The thief will stay." "Why?" everyone asked in confusion. The Chan master replied, "We are all healthy and capable people who are accepted everywhere. This thief, however, has imperfections. If he were to leave, where could he go?" Upon hearing these words, everyone felt ashamed and decided instead to influence the thief through loving kindness and compassion. Gradually, the incorrigible disciple turned over a new leaf. A treatise on the awakening of faith in the Mahayana categorizes the mind into two aspects, suchness and arising and ceasing. Put simply, the true mind and the delusive mind. The two are not separate, but two sides of the same coin. As the delusive thoughts fade, the true mind will gradually be revealed. Therefore, although the world comprises half wholesomeness and half unwholesomeness, they are not absolute as long as good people are willing to patiently guide and encourage others. I'll pass it to Jerison if he's around.
Okay. Right. As Lao Tzu said, good fortune follows upon disaster, and disaster lurks within good fortune. This is a world where fortune and misfortune are interdependent, where Buddha and Mara coexist. Living in this world of two halves, whether it be wholesome or unwholesome, good or evil, Buddha or Mara, all are between a mere moment of thought. A single benevolent thought can allow a person to immediately transcend and mundane and enter sagehood, whereas a single deviant thought sends them deep into the abyss. A simple change of mindset can transform ignorance into enlightenment and waywardness into righteousness. There's no need to be calculative in a world filled with both good and evil, for as long as the mind is true and virtuous and beautiful, it can influence the other half. One Once a Chen master Yaoshan pointed to two trees in the courtyard and asked his disciple, "Is the flourishing tree better, or is the withering tree better?" Um, there were three different answers. Dao said, "The flourishing tree is better." Yun Yan said, "The withering tree is better." Finally, the novice monk Gao said, "Let the flourishing tree continue to flourish, and the withering tree continue to wither. As long as there is respect and tolerance in this world, harmony and balance will be maintained." One will discover that even a world with two halves has infinite wonders. For example, life is a mixture of joy and sorrow, and alternating as day and night do. By being able to adapt and transform our thoughts, we can make the most both light and darkness, sorrow and joy. Stories abound of people whose lives and wealth have taken great turns in both directions. In one moment, they own buildings and amass a fortune, only to lose it all in the very next. Honor and disgrace, nobility and lowness are all impermanent. Even when faced with the momentary setback, success can still be achieved with perseverance and hope. Um,
It's the last
eh,
paragraph, Jerison.
okay. In this world of two halves, if we wish to enjoy the light of bright full moon, we must also accept the dark waning moon. Likewise, if we wish to enjoy the sweetness of fruit, we must allow it to develop through a ripening process that is bitter, regardless of how good person is. There's always be as much criticism as there is praise. Furthermore, regardless of how bad a person is, there will be as many sympathizers as there are detractors. Consequently, in the midst of life joys and sorrows, success and failures, praise and defamation, let us expand our hearts to embrace all imperfection and shortcomings. This will certainly lead to a carefree and joyful life, no matter what circumstances may be.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Let me go to my slide. So, half and half. Okay. So, Master, when she gave me this topic, she gave me this video also, which is a song. Yeah, let's start to listen. Hey, we're gonna play it. no, I cannot play it. I don't know what happened. Anyway, so this song, I have the translation here. Combination of translation by Google Translate and ChatGPT. So the song is half day. It's almost like it came from the article. Half daytime, half nighttime, half good, half evil, half men, half women, half true, half false. So half of Buddha's world, half of demon's world, or usually we would say Mara's world. Half of you and half of me. In this world, one can unify the other half. Oh, no one can unify the other half. Striving for the good half and bad half naturally diminishes. Accepting the beautiful half, embracing the flawed half, only then can one have a complete life. So, very beautiful. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened. It was supposed to be a YouTube link. So anyway, so we have a lot of examples of half as mentioned in the article, right? So day, night, water, land, good, evil, rich, poor, Buddha, Mara. These half actually, of course, is not a perfect 50-50%, right? And in fact, it can sway towards one or the other. So the real question here is, where is our half? And even better question is, how can we make our good half larger? So that is the key point here that we want to do or we want to learn. So in the article, the Treatise of Awakening of Faith in the Mahayana, it says it categorizes the mind into two aspects, suchness and arising and ceasing. So what is suchness and arising and ceasing? Again, my friend ChatGPT is very helpful. But guess I will put in humanistic Buddhism perspective. Part of the prompt, I say in humanistic Buddhism perspective, what is, then I gave that line. So he gave me the meaning, which I think is very close, or in fact, maybe the correct one. So this aspect of mind, suchness, refers to the ultimate reality or true nature of things as they are. It embodies the idea of emptiness and non-duality, emphasizing that all phenomena are inherently empty of independent existence and interconnected in their nature. So when we say suchness, we see it as it is without our delusive mind judging whether it is good or bad, beneficial or unbeneficial. That is the duality, right? So when we say suchness, we just see it as it is. Emptiness for those, my cousin is here, so the rest of you knows it, what emptiness already is. Emptiness is basically, it has no inherent character. It can change, right? So all phenomena are inherently empty of independent existence. It cannot exist by itself. It is dependent on many causes and conditions and therefore interconnected. At the same time, the arising and ceasing, this aspect pertains to the conventional reality of the mind where phenomena continuously arise and pass away due to causes and conditions. It encompasses the concept of impermanence, dependent origination, highlighting the transient and interconnected nature of all phenomena. So it just says that, with our mind and with worldly things, it arises, abide, and then it ceases. Right? So this is a normal things that happen to, especially to all worldly existence. Depending on different causes and conditions, then things might arise or cease. So from that, The treatise continued, put simply, the true mind and the delusive mind are the two are not separate but two sides of the same coin. So in short, whether our mind is the question is, where does our mind abide? Does it abide in suchness or does it abide in arising and ceasing? So I think most of the time, if we are deluded, we are abiding in the arising and ceasing. And so we get affected by what's happening around us. We see it as either good or bad. And then different feelings will arise, different feelings will cease. But the two are not separate. It's just two sides of the same coin. So what do we need to do? So here in the third sentence, it says, as the delusive thought fade, true mind will gradually be revealed. Maybe I would say, if we can cultivate our true mind, then the delusive mind will fade. Right? I think it's easier to learn what is the true mind, especially if we continue our study group. Then the delusive mind will easily be minimized. So therefore, although the world comprises half wholesome and half unwholesome, they are not absolute, as long as good people are willing to patiently guide and encourage others. So in this sentence, I can see two things. Number one, we all understand, or at least we should understand, that the world is composed of half and half, but they are not absolute. Like I said earlier, we can move it to a better half. As long as we have this, we can cultivate this true mind, seeing things as it is, then the world, the better half will grow bigger. Now, the second aspect in this sentence is, as long as good people, meaning we, the practitioners, are willing to patiently guide and encourage others. So whatever we learn, we try to patiently guide and encourage others to learn also. So that if we really want the good part of our half to grow bigger, then we shouldn't keep these things to ourselves, right? So we have to share it to more and more people. So in terms of humanistic Buddhism teachings, again, this is by ChatGPT. The understanding of the mind as having both suchness and arising and ceasing aspect is integral to spiritual practice. So we have to understand these two, suchness and arising and ceasing. Practitioners are encouraged to realize the emptiness and interconnectedness of all things, while also recognizing the impermanence and interdependence of conventional phenomena. This understanding fosters wisdom, compassion, and mindfulness in navigating the complexities of life and engaging with others in a harmonious and beneficial manner. So it's very important that we understand both suchness and arising and ceasing. Shifu posted everything in Chinese, and I can understand for sir.
The English is coming.
Okay. So I mean, what?
Use ChatGPT also.
Okay, I'll go on first.
Well, that is
Oh.
from
Is ChatGPT Buddha?
You have to put in terms of humanistic Buddhism, because
Oh,
otherwise
I just
you just get it from-
copy Master Xing Yun's article, and to ChatGPT, tell the ChatGPT translate it. That's it. That's what I did.
Okay, so let's read what Master shared to us. The Buddha is the awakened sentient being. The Wait, don't pause yet because it's moving around. The Buddha is awakened sentient being, and sentient beings are the unawakened Buddha. That's true, right? So we're asleep. In the mind, Buddha and sentient beings, there is no distinction. All explain that sentient beings and Buddhas inherently possess the same essence of mind, only due to ignorance. This is why we say we are sleeping, right? The ignorance is like our eyes is covered, so we cannot see things as they are. We're confused, right? So, and delusion, the phenomena like birth, existence, change, and differences between confusion and enlightenment arise. So that's the reason, right? So if our mind, it's actually our mind, right? It's not only the eyes that's covered or clouded. So that gives the confusion to arise. So the Mahayana treatise on the awakening of faith divides the mind, which encompass all phenomena, into the gate of the true suchness of mind and the gate of generation and extinction of mind, to illustrate its essence and function, termed as one mind, two gates. So one mind, we have to see things in these two aspects, not only one. Gate of the true suchness mind, the essence of the mind, devoid of phenomena like birth, existence, change, confusion, and purity, is the absolute equality of reality. This essence is neither born nor extinguished, neither increased nor decreased, and remains eternally true. The gate of the generation and extinction of mind, the dynamic aspect of the mind subject to conditions, arises and ceases, giving rise to phenomena such as birth, existence, change, confusion, and purity. So what does this mean? Suppose we have to try to shift our
Well,
mind to suchness, or
well,
not
the
really, right?
sadness is the Buddha nature.
Hmm.
A simplified to explain it is the Buddha nature. We need to see our Buddha nature.
Yeah, so since the way I see it is, since this is two of the same mind, I think my talk will reach to this aspect of the arising and ceasing. I'll get to that when we reach that time.
Okay, you arising something is diminished. So the arising is your Buddha nature will arise.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's more.
Later, if you have question, you can ask Peter, Sheila. Okay, well, the balance between the halves changes over time. One side has never completely been overtaken by other. Even though the world is two halves, may seem imperfect, it is actually filled with hope. Why is it filled with hope? Anyone? It is filled with hope if we understand. Of course, if we don't understand, if we don't try to learn, of course, it will always be filled with confusion.
It is filled with hope because it is endlessly, I mean, it's infinitely, all things are possible. That's why it's
Mm.
always filled with hope.
True.
And if it is imperfect, then it means there is perfection. If there's
Yes.
darkness, then it means there's light.
Yeah. So if we can see things like that,
Because it is imperfect, there is room for improvement.
okay. So that makes it filled with hope. If our mind is so fixed and see the bad things as it is, then there's no more hope. Okay, so again, from the article, Lao Tzu said, good fortune follows disaster, and disaster lurks within good fortune. This world where fortune and misfortune are interdependent, where Buddha and Mara coexist. Living this world of two halves, whether it be wholesome, unwholesome, good, evil, Buddha, or Mara, all are between a mere moment of thought. So it's just here. How we see things, is it good, is it bad? All in the mere moment of thought. So I had one example with this. We were applying to build our new home. So the government required us to get a certificate of no objection from the village homeowners. So when we tried to ask that, one of the member of the board of directors, he kept on, asking for details on the survey with regards to the height of the house. And, he made the drawing confusing, different from the finished grade, things like that. And initially, I was so frustrated that he keeps on making it difficult for me. So we keep on passing back and forth. I said, no, this is wrong. It should be like that. It should be like that. Right. So in the end, I tried to figure out, especially learning from this, how do I see it as something good that this person is doing for me? He is giving me a lot of problem. But in the end, I said, because of this discussion, because this guy is engineer, so the rest of the board of member are not. So I deal mostly with him, or he was given the task to review. So in the end, I figured, I said, well, this guy is helping all the other board members understand the wordings from the deed of restriction and things like that. So now everyone in the board already understands. So that's just how I see it, so that I will not be angry. So he is helping the other board members understand the details on engineering and things like that. So whether it's something good or bad, wholesome, unwholesome, it's between a mere moment of thought. Okay, a single benevolent thought can allow a person to immediately transcend the mundane and enter sagehood. One benevolent thought, we can become a Buddha, whereas a single deviant thought will send us into the deep abyss. So sometimes we just our deviant thought. One small problem would seem like a big problem, right? Just because we cannot change our mindset. Okay, a simple change of mindset can transform ignorance into enlightenment. Okay, so there is no need to be calculative in the world filled with both good and evil. As long as the mind is true, virtuous, and beautiful, it can influence the other half. So this part, the mind is true, virtuous, and beautiful. If we remember the discussion on karma, the more we do good, the more good things will come back to us. This will also help in this aspect. So the good things around us will continue to grow if we keep on increasing the 3 acts of goodness that we practice. Think good thoughts, speak good words, do good deeds, right? So this is how we can increase the other half, the good half. Again, if we are not guided, we don't know which we are doing, whether good or bad, then again, the half is just swaying from one to the other. Okay, so in this story, which of that statement are correct? Is it the first one, the second one, the third one?
Both can be correct. The third one.
All can be correct, right? So
Withering tree is better. The one is better.
Non-duality.
yeah,
Non-duality. Let it as is. Take it
yeah,
as it is.
right? Let them be. No need to compare, right? So this is what is telling us. So as long as there is respect and tolerance in this world, harmony and balance will be maintained. One will discover that even the world with two halves has infinite wonder. So here the keyword is respect and tolerance. So we have to respect other people. We have to tolerate them, especially if they didn't go through this study group. Of course, they will have different thinking from us. Right? So then we have to practice tolerance. Okay, so even then, even if we are surrounded with people who do not understand us, harmony and balance will be maintained if we can practice these two. But it is still better if we try to invite them, and hopefully they will learn also. Our life is always swayed by the 8 winds. So praise, ridicule, honor, defamation, gain, loss, joy, sorrow. Mind you, the slide just happened to have a picture of a male and a female. I didn't mean that the female part is the negative part here. But simply because I keep it there because this can happen to any one of us. That's what I meant, right? So we all know the story of Su Tongpo and Master Fo Yin, where one time Su Tongpo was meditating, and after meditating, he felt so good. He felt so enlightened, and he wrote this poem. He said, bowing heaven within heaven, I am the light that illuminates the boundless universe. The 8 winds cannot move me, who am seated mindfully upon the purple golden lotus. So he was so proud of himself. He is a renowned poet, by the way. So, and he wrote this down and asked his assistant to show this to Master Fo Yin across the river. So the assistant went to Master Fo Yin, and Master Fo Yin did not say anything. Instead, he just wrote part on it and returned it to Su Tongpo. And so when Su Tongpo saw this, he was so angry. What kind of master is this? I thought he is a Chan master. Why is he ridiculing me? And not only that, how can he write the word fart on my poem? So he
Excuse me, Erwin. Yung fart niya, it means like, to say it in a, it's like bullshit, parang ganon. It's a shit. What you're talking about is shit, parang ganon.
No, he said 放屁啦, 屌咪.
放屁.
放屁 is
放屁is
nonsense.
nonsense.
You're
Oo.
speaking nonsense.
Okay. So because of this, he was so angry, he quickly rowed the boat himself, went across the river, and when he reached the other side of the river, Chan Master Fo Yin was already there. And so he was asking, why did you do this? Why did you insult me? And the Master Fo Yin, did I? And then, yeah, you wrote this part on my poem. And then he said, I thought 8 winds cannot move you, but one fart blows you across the river. So again, we have to be very mindful, right? So especially if we think that we are very good already, we have to be even more careful, right? So things around us will make us realize, oh, I really need to practice. I really need to practice more. Same as Su Tongpo. Ruan, you're asking for the Chinese of the story, nonsense.
I mean, at least just, the term, right. Na-send na po ni Ma'am Luisa. Thank you po.
So the life is, we are swayed by the 8 winds. So instead, we should be able to adapt and transform our thoughts. That's what we learned from today's article, right? So success can still be achieved with perseverance and hope. So whether or not we are here on the negative side, know that we can do something, right? perseverance and hope. There is perseverance and then there is hope. Let us expand our heart to embrace all imperfections and shortcomings. This will certainly lead to a carefree and joyful life, no matter what the circumstances may be. So again, it's all about changing our mindset. Okay, so anything you can add? I think this is my last slide, or any examples of how you can avoid being swayed by the 8 winds. So meantime, thank you very much, and may all of you gain full wisdom, not half wisdom, so that this cosmos will be a better place to live in. Okay, so anyone wants to share something?
Excuse me. You were mentioning about a while ago, Lao Tzu said that every misfortune brings fortune,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, right?
Yeah.
It reminds me of during the pandemic, diba? You know what happened? It gave people, despite of the pandemic, many people were able to have a career, a business, a food business. Naging lucrative ang food business sila. You see, it's a challenge but opportunities arise from that challenge. And they made a lot of money because nag-change sila ng diba? So what can you say, diba? For some it is misfortune, but for others it's a source of fortune.
That's true. In fact, this study group, we tried to do this study group before the pandemic, not online, but at the temple, but somehow we never was able to do it continuously. You know, we start and then we stop and then we start and then we stop. We never had a continuous study group. But during the pandemic, we started this study group and now it's continuing on our third or fourth year already. Yeah, so that's something good that came out of the pandemic also, right? Peter, you want to share the other half of the article?
No. I just wanted to give a personal experience regarding the two minds. So
Mhm.
the two minds, one is mind of suchness, so just seeing things as they are, and the other one is mind of arising and destroying or seizing. So I'm brought up in New Zealand and Australia, so there are two countries that is governed by the rule of law. So most people really just follow the rules. So when you're driving, most of the time people abide by the laws. There's really no issue. Now coming back to Taiwan, it's always been a challenge. It's probably the biggest challenge I have in Taiwan because it's not a country of law and rules. People drive the way they want to drive. And it's not just me, but many Westerners, when they come to Taiwan, they can't tolerate the driving. So it gets me really angry a lot of times. So, but the funny thing is that when I'm driving with my partner, now my wife, she always hears me about how, other drivers are doing something illegal. And then one day she tells me that she used to drive fine, happy, carefree, just the way it is. But now because now I'm in her life and she's driving next to me, she now can pinpoint all the mistakes that other people make. So before, my interpretation is before she was using the mind of suchness. It's just the way things are. It's just the way how people drive in Taiwan. It doesn't bother her. Like there's no affliction. So she has an ordinary mind, an even mind, nothing affected. And then here I come along and then instill this divisive mind. What is right? What is wrong? What is good? What is bad? Instill into her mind, and it actually causes now for her to have affliction. So this is a pretty good example. It's not what a bodhisattva should be doing, but I still think it's quite interesting. Yeah, I think it's a good example of showing both minds. Thanks.
What did you do that her arising mind became bigger?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. She had mind of suchness, and then I turned her into a mind of duality.
Uh, so, uh, anyway, anyone else have some examples or some comment or even questions? Like I said, Peter, Sheila can answer your questions. You can type it if you don't want to talk. Of course, Master Yohoy also can answer your question.
I'd like to share something, Erwin.
Yes,
As
Sheila.
was listening to your presentation, Ganina, it reminded me of like those vows you take at the altar, you know, when you're about to get married, right? For better or worse, richer, poorer, sickness, health. So like those are the haves and haves that we have to deal with in life. So right when you already are about to get married, they already give you a warning of what to expect. So I think that if we like always remember our vows or remember that life is like half and half, that you know it's not always going to be bad. So if it's bad, you don't need to run away because it'll get better. So I see like so many like couples, like if there's like a small like issue, it becomes a big issue, and then they can't work it out. So I think if they have like a background on this topic, or you know, on humanistic Buddhism, you know, they won't make the issue such a big issue. Maybe they'll be more compassionate and like more understanding, and then be more realistic about their expectations on the other person or the spouse. So I just think it's a really good topic, and it's good for us to understand and help us to think through our thoughts before we react or something, you know. So I think there'd be more happier people if we if we learn to, you know, be understanding and work it through, not just, you know, give up right away. Just learn to balance, and then once you balance everything out, then the harmony and everything will come through.
True, true,
So,
true. That's
yeah,
a
right.
example, and I never thought of that. And now that you've mentioned it, those vows at that time, I always see it as something like a punishment, you know, like if you don't work out in good or in in sickness, like you really have to stay with the two of you. But now, if you understand things, it doesn't have to look like a punishment, right?
Right.
It's just about, adjusting. It's just about, tolerance. Not even
That
tolerance, but more on understanding, right?
Your spouse is your Buddha.
True.
And naiiba yung meaning. Oh, sorry. And the meaning, it gives a whole lot of meaning to give rise to great vows.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
Pero seryoso, I mean, seriously, now that we're talking about dichotomy, I mean, we have this term in Pali, you call it dotavaya, so like dichotomy, half and half. I mean, there's a sutta on this. I mean, we're all familiar, diba, in two stages of meditation, samatha, vipassana. Samatha is calming down, vipassana is insight. I forgot the Chinese terms. In samatha, there's something you do. For example, if the three poison arises, you use the opposite of it to calm down. For example, if you feel angry, what do? You do metta, right? You apply love. Or you feel, may ganun eh, there's a list for that, but I'll just share the sutta with you instead. This is the Buddha giving the list to Rahula. When this arises, you use this, and this. It's like antidote, right? And then you keep on practicing the antidote until you're able to calm down fully. Parang ganun. I'll write it up and send it to the Viber when my mind is well, yun lang naman.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. Also, our spouse is our Buddha, the teacher. That's why before, when I started learning, I go to Chuon Temple. At the time, the master in charge in Chuon Temple is Master Jelin. So I always say I have two masters, Master Jelin and Master Jennifer.
Shanzai, Shanzai.
Okay, anyone else want to share something? So it's so timing, right? They're both Che. So Fo, you want to add something? Or anyone have a question? Gerson, long time no see and long time no hear. Maybe you have something to share.
Erwin, this for me, this topic is so enlightening. Actually, like, as a I think this type of teaching, it should be practiced on a daily basis, because this will gonna help us, to stay away from any kind of danger or any kind of anger. And as Rowan said, that I agree with Rowan that, doing contemplation, practice, and also meditation can help us at ease these types of, to have us a better clarity and decision making. Also in my part, like, I'm also feel guilty on this, because sometimes I could not able to have balance in myself, like I cannot able to go into half. But one thing I'm sure of is that I just only say to myself that I should need to listen. By listening, I need to listen to myself. I need to listen to my venerable, because uh and I cannot trust. Sometimes I cannot trust myself, because because I'm lack of wisdom or something. But one thing for sure is that um in especially in our temple, like, we have people that surrounds us, and who encourages us, and also who help us, to be mindful, and also to get rid of those sufferings. So I'm so grateful with this, for Erwin, and for everyone, and also for sharing for this one. And thank you.
Thanks, Gerson. Yeah, we have to be always mindful. Good for you if we can catch your mind, right? But sometimes I know before I cannot catch my mind, it would just do things on its own. So the anger would have arisen, and it will be days before I realize that I have to stop this. Yeah. Ube, you shared something on Viber. You might as well share it here so that everyone can benefit from it.
I think everyone is on Viber too. Everyone in this room now is in Viber too.
Oh, some are not.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
Yeah, you can just expound.
Huh? No need to expound.
Yeah, there are a few people who
Peter, Sheila, and Yohue Pastor will expound.
The Greater Sutra of something according to Venerable Ube. ganun. Thus I have heard Roshi Wowen.
where is it? I cannot find it.
Huh? You go to the English group, Blia English group. You want me to read it out?
Yeah.
Where is it? Somebody
I
posted
posted it for you already.
about PSEI on our English group. Baka na wrong send to.
I think notes niya yan. Kaya dedmahin na lang natin. Napunta lang dyan.
Oo.
So here's
So,
your
yeah, this is what I wrote in the Viber earlier today when Erwin was joking.
I was not joking, of course.
Okay. So I said for me, half and half is also saying we be non-dualistic actually, to see it from a mountaintop view for every situation we find ourselves in. You can also see this article talking about non-attachment, like, when good happens, don't get too attached. When bad happens, don't get too attached. Things happen, but it is how we allow our minds to process each moment is what matters. That's my simple understanding of the article.
Yeah,
And
that's
now the Shang Peter will I committed kaya a mistake. I walked through the center door yesterday. My gosh, I forgot them when I walked out. Suche was trying to run after me to catch hold of me, but I walked too fast. So I really went out of the center door. And she said, "You are not shaven yet. You cannot walk out there."
In due time.
maybe that's the seed.
And ba, omen?
Yeah, that's the
Omen na yan.
big seed for your future. That's true, no? You talk about non-attachment. So people, our delusive mind, will get attached to whether or good or bad, both good or bad. But even if we don't like it, we keep on dwelling on it. So same thing as my story, for example, the guy, I was so angry initially. Even to a point for there were at least 2 nights I can remember that I cannot sleep properly. I was thinking of what I will do. So that's a form of attachment. I woke up early that morning, which I don't usually do, because while I'm sleeping, my mind is working and thinking of things that I will do. And that morning, I type in all the things that I will send to the board. So that is partly attachment, right? So, and that shows that despite my practice, there are some situations that it's so difficult to let go. Although it's not that bad, it's just like in a day, there's like a few hours that it will happen. And then sometimes I will just play my Buddhist chant, Omitofo, or something, or great compassion mantra, and dedicate it to this person. So that helps me also, at least for the time being, forget about it. And I think the most important part is it helped me to find a way to describe it so that the other members will better understand also, because they thought all the while they thought this I'm the one creating the problem. So they're wondering why Arvin is so persistent. Why don't he just follow? Yeah. So again, that's all about, clearing our mind. Once our mind is cleared, then we can think, we can find better answer, better way of saying it. Yeah.
Also, Erwin, I think the half and half is also a reminder to us that we are the other half, the other party is the other half. So we always put ourselves in the other half, see where they're coming from,
Mm.
right?
That's true.
So it works like how Sheila was saying earlier, instead of throwing a tantrum, we find out why that person, or instead of getting angry, you find out why that person is throwing a tantrum, or being angry, or all the negative things that is happening, why. And then when we see it from their side, we realize that they may be in pain, they may be, and then we can address that pain instead of ourselves going into that, same negativity.
Yeah. That's true, and that's very important. And same thing as how we understand ourselves, all that we learn here, not only in this article, but in this study group, helps us to understand others also, right? Once we understand ourselves, it's easier for us to understand others. It's easier for us to see why they're doing things the way they are doing, right? So it goes both ways once we understand ourselves. Joe, you have anything to share? Maybe he's not around.
Maybe not.
Okay, anyone else?
Erwin, di ba, Venerable Master also said that we have to know ourselves first naman talaga. We have to work on ourselves first before we start working on other people, right?
True. That's very important. So we always say, like, the things we learn here, we don't start applying it to others and see, oh, this person is not following the half and half. This person is not doing the 3 acts of goodness. That person is not following the 5 precepts. So, you know, if we keep on doing that, I doubt if it will improve faster, no. I don't-
Actually, we will turn away people from the Dharma when we
Oh,
do
yeah.
that,
Definitely.
right?
Yeah. So if that is how we practice, then we're actually practicing duality, us against others. Instead of practicing non-duality, we are now practicing duality. Me versus others. Me, the knowledgeable me, versus the others who don't know anything. Well, in reality, I don't know anything if I'm doing that. Peter, go ahead.
It's just something small, but I noticed that even though now that I'm starting to learn Buddhism and start to practice Buddhism, and it has now become a habit to try and find the non-duality. And then as we just mentioned about helping other people find non-duality, I noticed that I quickly find the non-duality for them and tell them that no, you can see, to help them see non-duality. But my response back have always been very blank. No good response. And I think the problem is because I did not show compassion first. I did not show empathy first to their experience and quickly give them the solution. And yeah, I think that's something that I need to work on. Even though we may have starting to get the tools and experience about how to find non-duality ourselves and pass through that from this shore to the other shore, when we do help people, I notice that you really have to spend some time with them and console them, and then make sure they're actually ready to listen to the non-duality, or else, as you guys said, it might backfire.
Yeah.
You know, I sent a message to someone, I haven't talked to her in 10 years, and she was telling me a couple of issues, and I just threw non-duality at her straight off. No response from her. So yeah, just really have to be careful. Not careful, but like we have to be, do it properly.
Yeah. Be wiser with how be more skillful with how we approach, right? Do our approach.
I think non-duality, especially without other background from the other part of the teachings, is quite strange.
Will it come off as if we talk to, let's say, somebody that is not schooled in it yet, would we come off as self-righteous, you think?
Either that or,
Yeah, non-sympathetic, like you don't get me. Would we come off like that?
Well,
Yeah.
or you're talking nonsense to them. Because like you said, they don't have the background, and our mind is so used to duality, and then now you're talking to me that there is non-duality. It that
It
sounds
may
so
come,
strange.
we may come off as a non-feeling,
Mhm.
right? Yeah, that's why Peter, I think, was saying that we have to be practicing empathy, maybe just sit with them, hear them out, and not necessarily telling them about the learnings yet. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
I mean, a really good example would be if someone has a knife in their body and they're in a lot of pain, you're not gonna tell them that pain is good for you, right? This will make you stronger. They will slap you in the face.
That's why you sound so strange, right?
A cuckoo. You're a cuckoo bird.
Uh, that's true. That's true. Anything more? I think this topic is quite interesting, and for most of us, I think it's not very difficult, right? It's just reminder of how we should see things and how we can shift things, move the half to the better half. So that's the key, how we can shift it to the better half, so that we will not get too affected negatively with the situations that we are in, right?
I think also we can I think we can apply half and half when, let's say, doing something, or okay, there's a project and you want to do your best. You expect the best, but also you hope for the best, but you also expect the worst. That you have to be, you've prepared, you should be well prepared. At the same time, you should be ready for any sudden situation, di ba? You know how to deal with situation. You have to be all well prepared. Ganun.
So that's true. Sometimes,
Diba?
no matter how much we prepare, things can still go wrong. So
Mm.
before, if that is me, I will get angry again.
Not according to expectation. Kailan talaga realistic din sometimes eh.
I would have said,
Something might come up.
plan for this, why it still happened.
It really happens.
That would have been me.
It really happens. No matter how you do everything and expect the worst, something will really crop up to rock you. So it's really that's how we get stressed, because we prepared for the worst, and yet something worse happened to the worst that we imagined. So we really have to do a balance. That's all, right?
That's true. So,
So it's not duality. You don't attach on good or bad. So you don't attach on like good half or bad half. So even it's worse, you are not attaching on that and then put the bad mood on that. You just has to see the cause and 因缘 depending on
Causes and condition.
Cause and condition.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So because you understand that, so you don't put your bad mood on that.
Mhm.
Because, okay, if something is out of control, out of our plan, you just have to accept it. So that's pretty much Master Xun taught us. You just have to embarrassing the bad half. You accept it. You do your best to work on that. But you don't like attach yourself, oh, I have to be good. And then the result has to be good. Because sometimes something just happen. Right? Yeah.
so for the beginner practitioner, they will say non-attachment to something bad is easier to understand, but why not attach to something good? They will ask you that question.
Because it's already attachment. You don't want to be attached on anything.
But
Possible.
but goodness isn't
Good things
also
then, too.
forever. Too
Huh?
good is not also forever, eh.
Yeah.
Diba?
Mhm.
It's not
Nothing
also
is
forever.
forever.
That's
Huh?
That's the truth. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing.
Yeah. Mhm.
oh,
Accept the truth.
Yeah.
There's no forever.
Except for the drama. Except for reality. That's what we
Right.
cling on to.
Yeah.
The great god of Buddhism technically is that impermanence, right? The idea that you cannot hold on to anything. And then now people will start to think, where does anicca, dukkha, anatta, or the three dharma seals, at least in the Mahayana tradition, comes into place? Well, first, I think the error that some people come into contact with in the Theravada is first when the mental fires come, they say, oh, everything is impermanent. In the Mahayana, they say, oh, everything is empty. But the thing you have to understand is before you come to that, when you're doing your meditation, you have to understand how the arising of the three poisons in the mind, how does impermanence relate to that, right? Where does raga, dvesham, or the desire, aversion, and delusion come into place? You have to understand that. The first idea is why you're experiencing suffering. Suffering is an effect of what? What is the cause of suffering? The cause of suffering is because you have held on to things, thinking you can hold on to them like that forever. I like desire. I like this object. I will keep it like this forever. Aversion. I don't like this object. I will keep it away forever. And delusion is the first two intertwining and making a mental mess. And from that mental mess, you come the other two again. So before we realize emptiness and impermanence, we have to practice that. So that's a long discussion, but I'm just saying that for the record.
so attachment. Once we are attached to something good, it will lead to disappointment, right? Once we lose that. Suppose, and then they will ask, oh, so I won't be attached. I will just leave it. You know?
No, it's not that attitude, okay? It's just you just ignore it, but the problem is still there.
So the non-attachment is the suchness that we're talking about, suppose, right? We just have to see it as it is and do things as it is, not do things with attachment and everything.
Those who like to argue, Erwin, those are what we call pilosopo. Now, I don't know how to explain that in Chinese. Auntie Luisa, can you explain to Peter and Yohui Fashi our expression in the
Ah,
Philippines? Diba?
yeah.
Like people like to just be argumentative for the sake of,
他们
getting
有时候想那个理由哈，好像说他们硬着要那个他们的理由啦。
强词夺理，
啊，哦，叫什么？
夺理，
强词夺理哈，给搞啦，parang ganon，给搞din啦，tampo 给搞啦，安尼也搞不进啦，跟你要争执啦，他要抢着要他的那个想法啦
and I'll say, yeah, you are right. Okay.
something like that.
So we call that here in the Philippines pilosopo after the word philosophy, because the
Feeling
connotation
like a philosopher.
philosophers like to argue, so we call them pilosopo.
Just
Okay,
like they feel like they are philosophers, something like that, no?
but of course we have a wise philosopher in Meja. She's not the.
It's not like that. She's not like that.
That's true. That's true. So, for example, if you talk about, let's say, cell phone, I say, I don't need to take care of this cell phone because it is impermanent anyway. So that is an example of not understanding what is the true meaning of impermanence. So if we understand the true meaning of impermanence, because the cell phone is impermanent, then we cherish it while we have it. So that's the right view of impermanence. The wrong view of impermanence is, I'll just not take care of it anyway. It's impermanent. That's the wrong view, right? The right view is, this is impermanent, so I need to cherish this. So same thing with our loved ones. We need to cherish our time together while we still can. So that's the right view. Okay. Any more you can add?
I've got a question on this article.
Go ahead.
The Chan master replied, "You are all healthy and capable people who are accepted everywhere. This thief, however, has imperfections. If he were to leave, where could he go?" So the master here found an explanation, but I think most of the time we may not have any explanation of the situation, or there is no logical answer for these things. So if we have this binary mind, we will feel terrible. And I wonder, I mean, this article is giving us like, you can use compassion and loving kindness to help you resolve these your binary mind. But I guess most of the time we cannot really find a solution. Or what I'm saying is we may not be able to use our logical thinking to explain these things and help us find a way out. So isn't this beyond what we can logically understand? Or all we can do is to observe and watch what's happening. So that's my thought. Like in this article, it's giving us a logical explanation where the thief can go. But I think maybe most of the time we cannot understand why the world can be in such a terrible situation, and we don't have to express that, oh, it's okay, it's non-duality, and you people would have to take on this view. Like, as long as we take on this view, whether others have their strong opinion or not, we can't control them. So
Yeah, many times if we lack wisdom, then definitely we cannot think like that. And in fact, many times, especially before, when I read Chan stories, I really don't understand why the master would do such a thing. So, for example, even this story, why would the master let the other members go instead of the thief, right? So if in a normal way of thinking, we would think we should let the thief go so that he won't bother us here in the temple. But in this case, the master might be thinking it's better off that he stays here than he bothers us here than bother everyone else outside. So maybe that's how he thinks, right? So if we have wisdom, we think differently. And if we don't cultivate wisdom, we cannot even think. So Peter,
maybe it's better not to think, because it's impossible to figure out. Like, you cannot use one person cannot convince the other with logical thinking, because it's everyone has their own way of thinking. So for practitioners like us, maybe we cannot understand most of the things with our logical mind. We just have to practice it anyway without the level of understanding. I don't think it's kind of beyond our three-dimensional model of understanding. So
yeah, initially it will feel like that, but I believe the more we practice, the more we understand, then at a later time, you will just realize, oh, now I understand this part, or, whatever part that you don't understand, you will soon realize that, oh, it was so easy after all.
I think Peter has something to share.
What you can.
Okay, so if I understand Tony correctly, he's saying that we're currently in a state of not being able to cross to the other side. So you see this world as, let's look at Israel. You see them as people that are doing something wrong. And we're saying that we don't have enough wisdom to find non-duality. And the only tool that we've given is say that we have compassion, or try and have compassion for them. And if this is what my understanding of question, there's a gap between where we are and lack of understanding to get to the other shore of actually finding non-duality. And we're forced upon by just saying we should be compassionate. But I don't think that's true. I think the way that we cultivate is we first look at the binary things, right? Who's good, who is bad. From a discriminatory mind, we start from here. Now, from the discriminatory mind, we should actually investigate. As Buddhas, we should be really looking at things carefully and deeply. So you look at the situation, you try and understand all the interconnections. So maybe you look at the history of Israel and Gaza. You maybe look at people, you try and investigate what's the situation right now to see it from all sorts of viewpoints, right? And if you can, obviously, if you can go to the place yourself and try and figure it out, you can. So by looking at all the interconnections, then what you do next is you add time. You look into you input the idea of time frame. So the situation, and you go backwards and you look at all the possible factors. And you look at forward, what would happen to the Gaza war right now, looking forward. By looking at the whole scenario more deeply and intently, then you should be able to find a non-duality. You should be able to reach a non-dualistic mind because you understand everything. I think that's. I think it is. So my answer to you is, I think there is something we can do apart from just being, shoved in the face saying that you should be compassionate. If you investigate closer, look at all the connection and look at all the lights, all the possibilities going back and forward, then you should be able to find non-duality.
That's why the two are two sides of the same coin, right? So you have to go one to the other. Okay.
I mean, the tools are for our own use. We cannot ask others to use.
Oh,
So,
definitely.
yeah, it's just for us to understand that
I will be more confused.
we are not here to solve the world's problem, and we can do what we can just sort out ourselves by trying to achieve non-duality, maybe, and the steps to take may truly focusing on ourselves only, and it could be an explanation on the logical. I mean, it could be logical thinking. It could be the teaching of Buddhism. But I think I guess the focus is on ourselves.
Yeah, of course. We have this, we learn, like I said, we learn all these things is to apply to ourselves, not to tell everyone, oh, you don't understand non-duality and things like that. But then again, if we have more wisdom, if we cultivate enough, then we will be able to say it in their own words. Like what the Buddha, he can teach others based on the other person's level of understanding. So it's also possible, but we have to cultivate it first, right? So sometimes we can explain to some people, sometimes we cannot explain to some people because we don't have the right capacity or the right level. Ube?
Yeah, sorry, I cannot do the raise your hand. I don't know. You need to tutor me on that. Anyway, that's why I raise a physical
That's
hand.
fine.
Um, I don't discount that we need to focus on ourselves. But just a reminder that we are pusa, right? We are bodhisattvas. So of course, we have to work on ourselves, focus on ourselves first, but isn't it part of our aspiration and our vow to also learn? Because what we learn, then we can benefit other sentient beings. So if we only focus on ourselves and think that we cannot do anything for our fellow sentients, then how can I be a pusa?
Yeah.
Right?
We
I'm
just
not
need
saying
to do
Tony, I don't, I'm not saying that what Tony is thinking is wrong, okay? I just want to have a clarification on this
Yeah.
because this is what I understand. I have to work on myself, and then because I already gained, I will share that.
Yeah. The only difference, I think what Tony is saying is sometimes we cannot talk to them right away about non-duality, right? So again, we need to have more wisdom in order to explain it to them what we're trying to say. We cannot just tell them, oh, that's duality.
The flower and the silence works.
Yeah. So, yeah, right. Like that one, it only works to one person. The others is like, oh, what's happening? And to think those are already arhats, you know? Can you imagine? And they're so confused. So different. That's why the Buddha is able to do or to impart teachings in so many different ways. And in fact, there are what you call Pratyeka Buddha, Buddha that doesn't teach. Because
Silent Buddhas.
yeah,
They don't know how they became Buddhas, so they cannot teach, but they're Buddhas anyway.
so that is because they never tried to teach. So
They really do not know how they became Buddhas. I thought they got enlightened. That's why they become Buddha.
Oh,
But they
that's why it's important
self-
that we try and learn to teach, so that when we become a Buddha, we become a Buddha who can teach. If we just practice by ourselves and someday we become enlightened, we're enlightened, but yet we don't know how to explain things to others. Yeah, so there's
That's why Sakyamuni is a very special Buddha. He's called Samma Sambuddha, Buddha who knows how he became Buddha and who can actually teach. So in exchange for the longer, it's in the Pali history, it's Mahabang Usapan. But in exchange of a longer lifetime, 500 years, he opted for 80 years. In exchange for that, the longer sasana, longer dispensation, right? Because the previous Buddhas, Kashyapa was just 10,000 years before Sakyamuni, so you can imagine. You have a very short dispensation. Yan lang naman.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So that's why all of us, we should practice teaching already. When Master Yohei say, Ube, you present this topic. Yes, Apo, I will try my best. That's your practice already, Ube. Not only Ube, but everyone.
Ayaw na, nag-speak na ko in front of an audience. No more na.
But because wait, you are non-restless Buddha Bodhisattva. I'm the rest Bodhisattva. I want to take a rest for this week, but you
It's
don't
okay.
want to. You push this become true, okay? I've been singing for incense reflection today. I'm
Yes.
tired.
And drumming. I was so surprised. I saw Sherpu this morning. I thought she was in Cebu, and then all of a sudden Sherpu is there.
3 incense, 1 hour per incense po?
2 hours.
2 hours. Wow.
First 1 hours and 2 hours, so 5 hours. Yeah. Because you. That's why
Rucola.
and you have to do all the job.
Intensive prayers. Intensive.
I do only half of it. The rest of you do the other half.
And I'm just sitting here.
Uh,
Well, but okay, for Tony, I think I would recommend you join the Vera McCurdy class.
Oh, yeah.
So you understand more. And that's the one on Wednesday night. In
I
Canada.
signed up, but there's my email was not replied. So I signed up on the 5th of March, but then maybe just the day before the first class. But then I filled out the form, but it wasn't replied. So
You mean the English one or Chinese one?
The Chinese
the
one.
Chinese one.
But
Okay, well, okay, I'll contact.
But it's okay. I already read the English version, so but it's already started, right?
No. You can still. I think Sherfu. I think you can still allow him to talk. You talk to Malaysia. I
Well,
think
I'll-
because there today is only lesson 3.
I'll just talk to Zhipu Fashi
Yeah.
about what happened.
Very
Okay,
good, Tony. If you can join that one, I listened in to 2 classes that my mom joined. The Sherfu that leads it, very good.
for
Yeah.
Chinese-
So I know where to, but there's no reply of my application, so I don't know where to send my inquiry because there was a Google form to sign. I signed, but there was no reply. So I don't even know who to contact after that.
me. Just contact me.
Okay.
In Cebu.
I thought it was organized in Taiwan
No,
because the list of okay.
Malaysia, right? Malaysia,
Malaysia, Philippines, I think Singapore.
China.
So I mean, different countries. So different country has someone to organize that, and then we all back to Taiwan together. But no worry about that. Okay, I'll help you out. Yeah, and then
Okay, thank
second
you.
thing, I'll recommend you to read some more 星云禅话. So you will have to you will understand what Chan master always think outside of the box. It's nonsense and the first when you read it, it really doesn't make any sense. It's not logical at all. Yeah, but once
Actually, I like that. I like that non-logical thing.
yeah,
It's like, what is your
Recommend
face before you were born?
星云禅话. Yeah, you will understand more. Yeah. So just think outside of the box. Oh, maybe you mixed our topic before. We have a topic called think outside of the box. Yeah, that's what all the Chan master thinking. All right.
Okay. So any more question? If not, we're running out of time.
Let's rest na.
Oh yeah,
She-
let's have a rest.
Tomorrow morning, she will
2
again.
more sessions tomorrow.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Probably not. I have a rest tomorrow morning.
okay, so if none, we'll end the session with the dedication of merits. Palms join everyone. you very much, everyone. Thank you, Safo.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Erwin.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting tonight's discussion.
Thank you, everyone, and good night.
Good
Share,
night.
share.
Share, everyone.
Bye.
Next week.
Next week. Yeah, see you next week.
Who's gonna lead next week?
Variable 之同
Oh, okay.
from Taiwan.
Yeah, from Taiwan. Okay.
The Samara precept, I think.
Shramanera precept. Yeah.
三民世界.
Oh.
And then the following week will be variable 之名 and talk about something like the precept thing.
Oh. Zhe means the one in Mabuhay, right?
Yes.
The young one.
Yeah, the young one. Yes.
Okay. See you
Okay.
tomorrow.
See
Bye-bye.
you next week, Owen.
See you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.